Hey, how's it going on, guys? My name is Rohan and I hope you guys are all safe. The other day, one of my friends, he called me up and he said that his cousin, who had just turned 18, was asking me questions about financial freedom, and he wanted to know what's the first step in order to be financially free, and he wanted my advice. And I thought, wow, having that sort of a mindset at the age of 18, in order to be financially free was the first step in order to be financially free. You need to have the mindset, you need to be able to think, and you should be prepared in order to be financially free. So I said, sure, I'd love to help him, but before I do so, I wanted to ask him certain questions. So I called him up and I said that, hey, I'd love to give you the advice, but I need to know, how would you define what being free means, or what financial freedom was? And he said that he wants to save enough money by a certain age where he could just retire, and the money that he had saved up, he could use it, he could remove it, and he could use it for his own comfort, to go on vacations, expensive vacations all over the world, to buy things that he always wanted to buy, to pursue hobbies that he always wanted to do. And I said that, yes, that is kind of a half definition of financial freedom. You are on the right step, but you still do not understand what financial freedom means. According to me, and according to a lot of financial gurus out there, financial freedom means having enough residual income to cover your living expenses. So say, for example, if your monthly living expenses, or your expenditure, or your cost of living is 50,000 rupees, then you should have invested enough money in different schemes out there that the interest that is being generated from these investments should be 50,000 rupees. So basically, you're just living off of the interest that is being generated. Financial freedom doesn't mean living rich, or being rich, or having a lot of money. Financial freedom means that you can concentrate on things that you love, that you always wanted to do, rather than working for money. The money works for you. That is the true definition of financial freedom. So this is what I'm going to talk about in today's video: how to be financially free and how to build your wealth starting in your teens. I would really appreciate if you guys could like this video and share it among your friends who want to start on this financial freedom and want to be financially free. So today I'm going to give you a total of 7 steps. I hope you guys enjoy this video. So sit back, relax, and let's start with step 1. So step 1 is to open a high interest savings account. If you guys haven't already done so, I highly recommend that you go out. First of all, pause this video, go out and open a high interest savings account. The reason why you should have a high interest savings account is basically you can track your money, you know how much money you're spending, you know how much money you're earning, and you know how much money you have at the end of the day. It is very beneficial for you to have a high interest savings account. Basically, high interest means that certain banks give you a certain amount of interest for the money that you just kept in your account. That's basically free money. You're not investing it anywhere, you just kept it idle in your bank account. The bank is just going to give you free money anyways. That is a win-win, right? You're just getting free money by just keeping the amount in your bank. So open a high interest savings account, and I highly recommend that the account that you're going to open is solely in your name. Don't add anyone else as a joint account holder. Don't add your parents, don't add your boyfriend or your girlfriend. It should be solely in your name. You should be the only one who can track the money that you have in your account. The second thing is, make sure that the bank account you're going to open up doesn't have any sort of maintenance charges. Usually banks charge you to maintain your account after every 6 months or after every year, and they have a certain minimum balance that is applied to the bank account. I highly recommend to go with the bank account which has zero minimum balance. Basically means that you don't have to maintain any sort of balance in an account. And for that, I'm going to give you 3 recommended banks that I use myself, and you guys can go ahead and open a bank account in these banks. So the first bank I'd like to recommend is IDFC Bank. IDFC gives you 6 to 7% interest on the money that you've saved up in your bank account, as well as zero minimum balance. The second bank I'd like to recommend is Yes Bank. It gives you somewhere around 4 to 6% on the money that you've saved up in your account, and also has zero minimum balance. And a third one is IndusInd Bank. Also gives you 4 to 6% interest on the money that you've saved up in your account and has zero minimum balance. So having a high interest savings account as your first step is a very good way to be financially free and financially responsible adult in the beginning. So go ahead, open a high interest savings account, and you'll thank me later. So step 2, get a credit card. I cannot stress how important this step is. I don't understand why a lot of people in India think that credit cards are evil and you shouldn't get a credit card because that's eventually going to drown you in debt. That is true, and that is false as well. People who usually drown in debt are people who are irresponsible with money management. They do not know how money works, they do not know how credit cards work, so they usually drown in debt. They just go on buying things that they cannot afford, and that's basically the reason why they are so much in debt. The reason why you should get a credit card is credit card is going to generate you more income over time. If you're responsible and you're knowledgeable and intelligent enough to know how to use a credit card, then I highly recommend that you go ahead and get a credit card. Let me tell you how credit cards usually work. So say for example, you want to pay towards your mobile bill, and your monthly mobile bill expenses are 500 rupees. So what you do is when you swipe a credit card, it's usually borrowing money from the bank and it's paying towards the mobile card provider. The money that you have in your bank account, which is 500 rupees, you pay off towards the loan that you got through the credit card. A lot of people are going to tell you that when you have a credit card, you're going to pay high interest amounts. That is true and that is false at the same time. They are not giving you full information about how credit cards work. Usually when you get a credit card, you're going to have a billing cycle. And for this example, let's consider that the first day of the month is the first day of the billing cycle and the last day of the month is the last day of the billing cycle. And you decide that you want to pay your mobile bill on the second day of the billing cycle. If you pay off the money that you borrowed from the credit card before the billing cycle ends or before the month ends, then you don't have to pay any sort of interest. But if you exceed the billing cycle and you pay it later, then you have to pay the interest amount that's been generated on the money that you spent on the credit card. So that's usually how credit cards work. And I know you guys must be saying that, in order to get a credit card, you must have a job and you must have a certain salary. Yeah, that is true, but you still can get a credit card as there is a workaround. And this heavily relies on the first step, that is to open a high interest savings account. Now that you guys have a high interest savings account, you can create something called FD or fixed deposit, and you can get a fixed credit card against the fixed deposit. Say for example, you've got 10,000 rupees. You go to the bank and you tell them that, hey, I've got 10,000 rupees and I want to create a fixed deposit. They say, sure, give me your 10,000 rupees and here's a receipt worth 10,000 rupees for your fixed deposit. Now fixed deposit is going to generate you somewhere around 5.5 to 6.5% interest annually, depending on bank to bank, which is also good. So you're making money. And on top of that, now you can utilize that fixed deposit in order to get a credit card. That's known as fixed deposit credit card or fixed deposit card, FDC for short. So now when you go and tell the bank that, hey, I've got a fixed deposit, I want to get a credit card against the fixed deposit, they'll be like, sure, the 10,000 is the amount that you've invested in the fixed deposit. I can give you 80% of that amount. Usually banks give you somewhere around 80% of the amount that's there in the fixed deposit. Now that you have a fixed deposit worth 10,000 rupees, you're going to get a credit line worth 8,000 rupees, which is 80% of the 10,000 rupees. So basically you are getting the credit card. Now, when you get a credit card, you also get a thing called credit score. Credit score is something where it tells the bankers, it assures the bankers that, hey, this person who has the credit card is a responsible person because every time he swipes the credit card, he's paying off the credit card on time. The more you pay the amount on time, the higher your credit score is going to be. And when I said earlier that credit card is going to generate you more income, that means that what I really meant to say is credit score is going to generate you more income. Let me just give you an example. Now, when you go to the bank or a lender and you tell them that, hey, I want to buy a house, this is the amount that I have for down payment, which is usually somewhere around 20 to 30%, the bank's going to give you the remaining amount as a loan. But before they do so, they're going to check your credit score. They are going to check your credit score before they check anything else. They're not going to check your salary, they're not going to check your employment type, how long you've been working in that company, what your ITRs are. They're not going to check anything before they check your credit score. So the credit score, as I said earlier, assures the bankers that this person is a responsible person. When you have a high credit score, you have a higher chances of getting a loan. Now, this is how it makes more money. When you get a loan, you buy a house, the house is something that appreciates in value. So say, for example, in the future, when you sell off the house, you're going to get more money than that you've paid for. Say, for example, if you buy a house worth 30 lakh rupees, 10 years down the line, the value of the house is now 40 lakh rupees. That's made you a profit of 10 lakh rupees in 10 years. That's 1 lakh rupees a year, which is amazing. So basically the credit card or the credit score has generated you more income over time. So that's how credit scores work, that's how credit cards work, and that's how they generate you income over time. Step 3 is to open a PPF account or a public provident fund account. This is the very first step to ensure your post-retirement life. Public Provident Fund is a scheme provided by a government which ensures your post-retirement life. So the benefit of having this account is once the money matures or the account matures in the future, the money that you withdraw from this account is tax-free. You don't have to pay any sort of taxes. This usually benefits if you start investing in PPF account earlier. So basically, if you have a job at the age of 18, you wouldn't be in a higher tax bracket and you wouldn't be paying a lot of taxes. So it's much better to start at an earlier age. Let me give you an example. Say you start investing at the age of 30 and you're investing 1,000 rupees per month or 12,000 rupees per annum. You'll be investing 3.6 lakh rupees over a period of 30 years until the age of 60. But the maturity value of this would be 12.5 lakh rupees. That's about 3.5 times the returns of the amount that you've invested. But if you start investing at the age of 18, you'd be investing 5 lakh rupees by the age of 60, but the returns that you're going to get is 30.5 lakh rupees. That's more than 6%. That's almost double the amount of money that you would have gotten if you would have started at the age of 30. You can imagine how a few short years generates you more income, and this is all because of the magic of compounding interest. If you guys don't know what compounding interest is, it's basically the interest that you get on the principal amount will generate you more interest, which will generate you more interest, which will generate you more interest. It's basically a snowball effect, and it kind of looks like an exponential graph. So when you look at the PPF account earlier, when you have just started investing, you won't see a lot of money in your account. But as the years pass by, you're going to start seeing a lot of money because the interest is being generated over the interest. Let me simplify it for you. Say, for example, you're investing 1 lakh rupees per annum in the PPF account, and the interest that you're getting is 10%. So by the end of the first year, you're going to have a total of 1,10,000 rupees in your PPF account. At the end of second year, you're going to get 10% again, but this time on the amount of 1,10,000 rupees rather than just 1 lakh rupees. So basically, you're getting interest on that 10,000 rupees interest as well. So at the end of the second year, you're going to get the interest of 11,000 rupees at the end of second year. So that's basically 1,000 more than what you've gotten in the previous year. And this just keeps on increasing. Now, we have not considered that you're going to invest 1 lakh rupees every year until the maturity date. So that's going to generate you more income. I don't know how to simplify it even further. Basically, I hope I've given you a certain idea where how the interest works on the interest, and that is the magic of compounding interest. So the earlier you start, the more money you're going to have in the end. The later you start, the less money you're going to have. But if you're above the age of 18 and you still don't have a PPF account, I still recommend you that the first step that you do in investment is to get a PPF account and to ensure your post-retirement life. Step 4 is to invest in mutual fund through SIP. SIP, or Systematic Investment Plan, is a scheme provided to the investors where they're allowed to invest their money on a timely and disciplined manner. Say, for example, if you've got 500 rupees that you can invest per month, you usually invest in mutual funds through SIP. A mutual fund is basically a financial vehicle made up of a pool of money where the money that's been collected is invested again in different types of stocks, in different types of bonds, in different type of money market instruments, and all the other different types of assets. Basically, it's just like your money is being invested by an investor in different types of assets. Mutual funds usually work in a long-term basis. It kind of works like a PPF where, again, as I said, the magic of compounding interest works. So if you've decided to invest in a mutual fund and you've decided to invest 1,000 rupees per month for a period of 20 years, you're basically investing a total of 2.4 lakh rupees. But once the 20 years are done, you're going to get a return of 7.7 lakh rupees. That's almost 3 times the money that you've invested. So it's 3 times the returns. So as I said, it works long term. If you're going to invest in mutual funds, invest it in a long term period. Invest and hold. Don't remove the money. And the money that you're going to get back is going to be way higher because of compounding interest. I'm going to do a whole other video on compounding interest. I'm going to do a whole other video on mutual funds if you guys want to. And if you want that, I'd really appreciate if you guys could like this video and also comment down below on what different videos you'd like to see from me. Step 5. Make sure you remember this. Debt is bad. Any sort of debt is bad. Especially consumer loans are bad. Just to tell you, there are 2 types of debts. One is a good debt and one is a bad debt. Good debts are usually things that you buy on loan, which is going to appreciate in value, which can be like a house or a rental property or a commercial property. Those appreciate in value as the time goes on. Bad debts are something that depreciates in value. Say, for example, you want to buy that phone that you always wanted, or you want to buy that console that you always wanted. That's bad debt, and usually the things that you buy in bad debt depreciates in value. Say, for example, you want to buy a PlayStation 5. Right now, you cannot afford buying a PlayStation 5 because it costs 50,000 rupees, and you decide that you want to swipe your credit card to buy that. Now, you have to pay in monthly installments. Let's consider that you took the loan or the EMI for 18 months. So once the 18 months are done, the money that you've paid towards that EMI is not going to be 50,000 rupees, because you're going to be paying some sort of an interest on top of that. By the 18 months are done, maybe you've paid 52 to 55,000 rupees. So basically, you've just paid 2 to 5,000 extra for the PlayStation that costs 50,000 rupees. By that period, by that 18 months, that PlayStation is not going to be of 50,000 rupees. It's going to depreciate in value. Say, for example, now it's 45,000 rupees. So you've just lost 5,000 rupees from the value, from the original value of PlayStation 5, and by paying extra interest, you've lost somewhere around 7 to 10,000 rupees in total. So that's a depreciating value. If you want to buy a PlayStation, or if you want to buy any sort of consumer products, then always buy it if you can afford to pay everything up front. If you've got enough money saved up, where you don't have to get any sort of loan, or you don't have to buy, if you don't have to swipe the credit card, that's when you go and buy the consumer products. Otherwise, just don't buy it, save up money, and then go and buy it. Consumer debt or bad debt is really, really bad. That's the thing that's going to drown you in debt, not the credit card. Consumer debt is a habit. Bad debt is a habit. It's a form of addiction, and the more you go into it, the more debt you're going to get, the more things you're going to keep on buying, because that's the thing that makes you feel good, and you don't care about the money that you need to pay, and eventually you're just going to be destroyed. Consumer debt destroys people's lives. Trust me, bad debt destroys people's lives. So if you can, please avoid getting any sort of consumer debt. Please avoid getting any sort of bad debt. So step 6 is to get a job. I might sound like one of those old guys who goes and tells people like, oh, you should get a job, you should start earning money. There is a reason why I'm telling you to get a job. And now that you're the age of 18, you can legally work. Trust me, you'll be really, really thankful once you get a job. I started working at the age of 18. I was working in one of my friend's automobile showroom. I was working in Hero Honda, and my basic role was that of a sales manager. Not a sales manager, a salesperson. So I used to pitch to people who used to come in order to buy the bikes, and I used to answer all sort of questions. I used to tell them everything about the bike. I used to arrange test rides for these people, and in the end, I used to make sure that these guys would buy the bike. My salary wasn't much. I used to get paid somewhere around 2,000 rupees per month, and every bike that I sold, I used to get somewhere around 250 to 300 rupees. I don't remember much, but that was not a lot of money. But that taught me so many things. When I got my first real job in Ubisoft, I understood how things worked. I understood the different types of responsibilities. I understood how to talk to the people. I understood what things need to be done, what deadlines were. There's so many things that you can understand. There's so many things that you can learn from getting a job, even if it's not a high-paying job. And the money that you're earning from this job, you can always invest, and you can always, put it into the PPF that I told you earlier, and you can save the money if you want to buy something in the future. Say, for example, you want to buy the new PlayStation 5. You can save up that money and you can get a PlayStation 5. The really important step over here is to get a job. So the last step, and I believe is the most important step out of all, is to invest in yourself. I know a lot of people tell you to invest in yourself, but there's no other investment that's going to give you higher returns than investing in yourself. Go out, read books, understand how life works, understand how different things work. If you're passionate about finance, read different financial books. If you're passionate about music, understand how music works. Invest in learning a new musical instrument. If you're passionate about learning different languages, then learn new languages. That's investing in yourself, and that's going to make you more money. Basically, just master your craft. Do the things that you love. Do the things that you're passionate about, and make sure the things that you're passionate about, you invest more time in it. You try to make it as perfect as possible. That is basically investing in yourself. And that's it. That's all the 7 steps that I'd like to give you today. If you guys really like today's video, I'd really appreciate if you could press the like button below. And I'm going to post a lot of new videos in the future, so I would appreciate if you guys could go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well. If you guys want to share this among your friends who want to start on this financial freedom journey and want to build their wealth in your teens, then please make sure to share this video with them and help them to be financially free as well. So I hope you guys all stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.